Hello, this is Steve Manis. Welcome back to Chicago REOInvesting.com. The last time we talked about the Chicago market itself and why it's such a good time to invest here. And I wanted to touch on a couple of other points. I'm seeing more and more that these properties are coming down in price, and there's a steady supply, as I mentioned the last time. And it's so interesting because rents are, in many cases, uniformly high. We had talked about the fact that the same houses that you can acquire in other markets, in other words, those for the same prices, where in another city, a Memphis, perhaps, a St. Louis, they might rent for $700 or $800 a month. In Chicago, they're renting for $1,100 and $1,200 and $1,300 a month. And I'm seeing more and more of this now, in that the prices themselves are consistent, and the banks themselves are allowing us to get them at better prices so that we can get them at the better prices to you. Remember, we're doing all the negotiating here, and in essence, we're handing them to you, what I like to call on a silver platter, because we've taken care of the hard work. And the reason that people are coming to us is because we are offering this level of service and getting the properties in such a way that the price to you is presented so that really the decision is quite easy from a standpoint of an investment. You know very clearly what your costs are, and you're getting a property that has a very, very good rent and will have appreciation when the market comes back up in a year or two. And even if it doesn't come up for 3 or 4, because we really don't know what's going on right now, no matter what anybody tells us. But even in that case, we're protected here. And that again is the beauty of a market like Chicago, because there is such a strong rental market that is only going to continue to go up. I mean, that's the inverse of these housing prices falling. As more people are unfortunately losing their homes, what's happening to them? They're becoming renters. And when there is a demand for rent, yes, the rent itself will continue to increase. So as an investor, we have an opportunity here to begin to bring properties into our portfolio. Now, the other thing that we encounter as investors, if we're a buy and hold investor, is that the financing can get a little tricky. And of course, right now, many of us are experiencing that. One of the things that I have found, particularly through a friend of mine who is a very savvy investor, is that it is good to expand our horizons in terms of who we're actually going to for financing. And one of the great, seemingly little secrets, though it's really a secret to me why more people don't know about this, very simply, we don't have to rely on the residential mortgage market in order to finance our investment properties. And in fact, we're better served by beginning to cultivate relationships with bankers in small regional neighborhood banks, depending on where you are. But if you're in greater Chicagoland, as we know, there are many small banks. They exist everywhere. And if we begin to get to know a bank manager, a particular loan officer, it depends on the size of the bank, and they get to know us as individuals, we develop a relationship, and what that results in is a couple of things. One, we have a very, very good ally for the future, somebody with whom we can move forward and who wants to move forward with us. Because these banks, as I have recently found out, are now offering 80% of the loans to investors for single-family homes, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. 80% now. So why would we ignore a segment that's in fact interested and eager to lend us money? So the key is not to stop at one. We may know of a particular bank. By all means, go there. But go to another and another. If the first one doesn't say yes, go to the second and the third. In this business, we know what it means to persevere. We've all encountered obstacles. And in this case, these are diamonds, not even in the rough, but diamonds waiting for us. So if we continue to cultivate these relationships, pursue one and another, we will find one or more local bank managers, loan officers wanting to grow with us, wanting to finance multiple properties for us. And we come to understand that it is the properties themselves who qualify for the loans. Yes, we as individuals want to present ourselves in the most positive way, as we would in any situation. But it's the properties themselves that make the difference, and here we are. Chicago REO Investing is able to offer these properties to you that are prime candidates for this type of loan. So we know if we're rehabbing, we want to take care of the hard money to begin with, or private money up front. Perhaps we're using some of our own finances or corporate credit. Whatever we're doing, it works. We know that. But at the same time, let's take care of the back end. So after that rehab is done, we can simply transition into that long-term financing. And if we begin to cultivate these relationships, we're going to be ahead of the game. So please come back to us. REOInvesting.com. This is Steve Manis. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you again.